Project. How are you guys? Well, tonight I'm so excited. The cast has been really looking forward to this, and so why don't we just bring the cast out? Let's bring out the cast. Different. So let's just go down and introduce ourselves and say what character we play. My name is Jim Glau, and I actually work at Serena Coin. We do all of the advertising for the Cripple of Inishmaan.
I'm Sarah Green. I play Helen.
I'm Hannah. I play Auntie Eileen. I'm Ingrid, and I play Kate.
I'm June, and I play Mammy.
I played the doctor. I'm Horik.
Thank you very much.
This is it's all lies. Pat's short and he's a national treasure back there. I'm Horik. I play Babby Bobby.
But before we get started with some questions, I actually wanted to bring out a very special person to us. Abby Land is the Executive Director and CEO of
For doing this, and thank you all for being here. And oh my God, I'm on a Broadway stage. All those years, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to take a moment and tell you a little bit about the Trevor Project. Many of you in the audience do know, but the Trevor Project, we are the only national organization that works to prevent and do intervention for suicide for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender and questioning youth up to 24. And we have a number of programs. We have a 24-hour lifeline that young people can call us when they are feeling like they have no hope, as Daniel's character did, Billy did for the play. We have chat and text, so young people can call us and text us when they're feeling again like they need something. And we have trained counselors, and some of them are here in the audience tonight, that let people know that, you know what? We want young people to know that they are perfect just the way they are, and that there is a tomorrow full of hope for them, and our job is to make them understand that that tomorrow, that 5 minutes is everything. We do education, we do advocacy, and suicide is the second leading cause of death of all young people 10 to 24, and if young people are gay, lesbian, or bisexual, they're 3 to 4 times more at risk, and if they come from a family that totally rejects them, they're 8 times more at risk. So we touch the lives of over 100,000 youth every year, and we're able to do it because of amazing support, and so I want to thank you all. Daniel's been a great supporter of the Trevor Project. Thank you so much for doing that over the years. Thank you all for the work that you've done, and thank you for this play, because the play definitely, I think, represents some of how our youth feel when they call us. So thank you all so very much, and Jim, thank you for leading us. Take care.
Well, guys, congratulations on, Sunday is actually the last performance of the Cripple of Inishmaan here on Broadway, which is so sad. But it's been kind of an incredible journey. Can you share with us a little bit about the journey from London to here and how it's been going?
Yeah, I mean, well, when we were coming towards the end of the run in London, there was a possibility discussed of that big Broadway run, and at that time they were trying to make it happen, and there were literally no theatres available at that moment in time. They were all full, so there was nowhere for us to come into. So at that moment we thought that it kind of was probably not going to happen, and I certainly in my mind had put the idea of a Broadway run kind of, out of my head, because it was too upsetting to think about what could it be.
an interesting difference from I know that we had talked about how much all this press there was around the show and how you guys had to do all these press events and then, nominated for the Tony. Talk a little bit about that, about the experience around that, about being, Broadway star. Sarah, you know. Yeah.
I, unlike Dan, wouldn't be used to the press. Yeah, it was an eye-opener. It's very different, Broadway, to kind of what happens in Ireland and England, I suppose. There's no big press call on the day, or after opening night we had to do like an hour of press, wasn't it? Which is unheard of. We've never done that before. So yeah, it was different but exciting. It adds a different kind of buzz to it.
Speaking of which, Buzz, the aunties have their own Twitter account. Planning on just running that for the rest of the...
It's to our manager, Dan.
Wait, it's not you?
Right now because it's very, very secret.
Yeah.
But it's likely there might be some sort of a farewell thing.
Yes, now.
We'll have to talk to our manager about that.
That's going to be the secret.
The aunties of the speaking of this, it's so interesting. Martin McDonough's. This is actually Martin's least violent play. Is that true? I mean, is anyone here familiar with Martin's work? Okay, great. We got some fans. Talk a little bit, guys, over here. Like, what is it about his work and that is so very modern and of this time and violent?
Obviously, I'm the only person that's done more than one McDonagh. Not true. No, Martin's work is fantastic. I mean, he's very honest. His characters are very honest. They come from rural Ireland, in a very wild part of Ireland, and I think it's funny. I had a chat with Martin there the other night, and it was amazing. We were talking about this play in particular. That it's amazing that it's 25 years, 26 years since this play was written, and yet still to this day, some awful stories are coming out in Ireland about how the Catholic Church have treated people and so on and so forth. Stories that he reflects in this play, and it's amazing. It's still timeless after all those years. So I think Martin really has a voice of a certain people in Ireland that hasn't been kind of voiced before, and it's come out in these plays. There is a kind of an honesty and a kind of a. I suppose I don't know how to explain it, but it's funny. I remember seeing this play first time in the Royal Court in London in 1996, I think it was. In the National, in the National in '96, and I remember one of the first lines that really struck me in the play which is a line that my character delivers, which was the argument when Dan's character says, "Don't call me Cripple Billy anymore." I say, "But why? Isn't your name Billy and aren't you a cripple?" And it was like, I remember gasping at that line in 1996, at just how, like, upfront Martin's writing is about topics like cripples and gay and priests and all sorts of things like that. And he just talks very honestly about the way people talk about these things.
Or think about it.
Think
that
about
they don't.
it.
I think that's the honesty and
Yes,
the shocking.
and that's
that
the honesty
people
and
say
shocking.
what they think, but we all.
And he's not
filter
making a
our
judgment.
thoughts.
He's just putting it out there as the way it is and the way people talk. And I think that's the most interesting thing about Martin's writing and about his work. And that's what's so wonderful about his plays, that they're shocking, but people kind of sit back and go, I know it's shocking, but it's the way people talk. And that's what's honest about it, and that's fantastic.
There's a lot of physical parts to the show. I mean, obviously you've transformed your body into this role, and then also the fighting. Tell me a little bit. How do you prepare yourself physically to do that? I mean, do you have like a crazy workout plan or something?
This is going to be very disappointing now. I did a lot of training in London before the show. For the show in London, I trained for about 3 months with voice coach, but also has a very mild form of cerebral palsy herself. And so I trained with her for like 3 months, just on trying to understand not only the kind of the mechanics of the condition and what it does to the body and the way in which it affects the body, but also trying to get inside the kind of mindset of that and how that would affect you in your life. And it's actually not really, it doesn't really affect the inner life at all. It's about how it affects people's perceptions of you. And the most revealing thing, I talked to a person who has a much more severe form of cerebral palsy, and I was talking to, and much more severe even than what Billy has in the show. And I was talking to her about it, and she was saying that the most upsetting thing for her is, and the thing she fights on a daily basis, is the disconnect between how she knows herself to be, which is a fiercely bright, articulate, funny person, and how everyone else sees her, which is disabled. And that's the first thing that comes into their head, that's the first thing, and it changes the way they interact with her in a way that is, you know, in a subtle way that is really upsetting. And so that was kind of, those were the things I was very concerned about. And in terms of physicality, I don't. Everyone always sort of says like, oh, what you do before, and you having lots of physio, and I've had like one physio session the whole time I've been here. It makes it sound like I'm not. I feel like if I say this, you'll think I'm not working hard. It's like I'm not in like terrible amounts of pain, and also I don't want to say like, oh yeah, it's really hard, because you know this is for 2 hours a night, and some people live with this, so it's not. I don't want to be like, yeah, it's a nightmare doing it for 2 hours.
I mean, it's amazing, like the physicality of it. You have kept the same physical performance every day, so that is a feat right there. I think this is a great opportunity. Do you guys have any questions for our cast? We gotta jump up. What's your question? You have a question?
Yeah, what's your favorite product film?
You think it's funny? It's just one.
We got a question down here.
Yeah, I was wondering what's the difference between the audiences in the UK versus US, perhaps, as far as their reaction to those types of politically incorrect statements or whatever. And the other one, is there any part that we didn't laugh at where we
Can I answer the first part of that?
That's all you can ask.
No, but there is. It is funny. The audiences are more or less similar in lots of respects, but there is one moment which I thought was quite funny. Is when Babby Bobby comes to the two ladies and says that he was supposed to bring Billy back, and it's that very.
Where he says that he's gone to Hollywood for a screen test.
Correct.
The reaction in England was like, oh no, he's not coming back.
Whereas
here it's like, whereas in the US, it's like, yay, he's going to Hollywood. But that generally speaking is kind of reflective of how US audiences react. They're more kind of positive and you know, more responsive to us on stage. But it's funny, there are certain things which just haven't received laughs here or in the UK. But that's as good. But that silence is as good as the laughter in some ways, or the gasps, or
when
the
Sarah
awkwardness.
mentioned about, we had one night here when Sarah mentioned about it. I think Pontius Pilate is what's the line, Sarah?
I always preferred Pontius Pilate to Jesus. Jesus always seemed full of himself.
That side of the theatre must have been from Minnesota. There was a serious battle.
They didn't laugh at all at that. I don't think they got the reference. How
have you guys managed to keep it fresh every night? I mean, is there little inside jokes that happen on stage, or is there any like? How does
You get paid good money.
It's job.
What's your job? What job? Guys, any other questions?
Does
Yes.
Johnny take the money to save Billy, or does he keep? He does.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
He's our hero in there.
So in a way, he is actually the hero. That's what McDonough does that a lot. He kind of
You right there.
So one of the best parts about live theater is that anything can happen. So has anything crazy happened, like that you guys had to, like?
Tell the man.
Is that you, Harry? Or something?
That was me in June. Wasn't it? Yeah. Just at the bedroom scene, we were just at the very end of it. And with the paper, remember the newspaper? And we were just there. And just as I was about to deliver the last line, I think I normally look that direction and go, just a look, and then I go, I bet money on cancer. And just as I was about to say, I bet money on cancer, there was an old man over there jumped up and went, "Is that you, George?" It's not even a heckle, it's just a strange line. It just took from it.
When Billy asks Helen to go out walking with him and says, "Sure, what would I go out walking with a crippled boy for?" A man had enough of me and he shouted, "Oh, for heaven's sake!"
As I was walking off there at scene 3 once, the two girls, as I was walking off, I just heard this, "Damn." Am I that much of an egotist that I'm imagining people saying my name? And then I got outside the stage door and I was talking to them, and these girls said, "Dude, do you hear us saying your name?" Yes, I did. Don't do that ever.
That's awesome. How about you, Rick?
Revolve broke.
Oh, wait, we got it.
But it was fixed. The guys got on us immediately.
We had to stop for 8 minutes.
Yeah, just as the boat was revolving, it got stuck 2/3 of the way out, and then as the scene ended, we brought down the curtain, made an announcement, and it was like 10 or 15 minutes.
Eight.
Very quick. Trying to embellish here. 10 or 15 minutes. 8
minutes.
You had a question over here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for a lovely evening of theatre, terrific ensemble. And a question for Babby Bobby. Your violence to Dan's character came a little out of the blue for me, even though you had the earlier thing, but it was played for laughs. So what's happening there with the character? It just seemed a little...
Well, I just made it up tonight. He's in a bad mood.
Because everybody else sort of seems that there's a sort of gentleness, it seems, in everyone, and then this is a real surprise, at least.
But
to me.
it should be, because that's McDonough. I think he does that. He flips your perceptions of characters the whole way through the play. Like this guy who has been getting on everyone's nerves for the whole night ends up being the hero. This guy and. Billy says, "You're not like all the others. You're more like me. You're a nice character." And then he suddenly flips that on its head. It's what McDonough does. But also, Billy deserves it because he uses the memory of Babby Bobby's dead wife, which is a terribly manipulative thing to do.
And Billy's our hero, but he's manipulative.
And that's another example of flipping a character. Another side you see of that character, but he's quite manipulative to do that. It's quite a mean thing to do.
And also, I think it's a very honest. But also, it's not patronising to a character with a disability.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
It's almost a thing of respect that Babby Bobby does, that he treats him like any other individual, and sure, it's incredibly vicious, but it's just Babby Bobby's sense of justice, because this is the world he's from, this harsh environment, and that's...
I had a question about the movie. So a lot of the scenes in the movie are cues for different lines. Does that you just have to time that with your scene, or is there like a stage where you're saying like go
You want to be a stage manager, don't you?
They edited the movie to the like. Right?
Yeah.
So the movie is like, if you want to watch a movie, go for it. But it's long. And so they edited down like an 8-9 minute version of it.
And it stops too. It does. It freezes if we're a bit slower.
We're indulging ourselves
Yeah.
much on stage.
It always has to end at the same place.
And it always has to match what's being said on the stage. So at every night when these lines are being said, that picture's on the screen.
Have you guys ever been to Inishmaan? Like, is that?
Oh, yes.
Is it like this? Is it still like it? Like,
Did you see the picture on the card? That's the island. That's it.
wow.
Very bleak. But very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Did you ever perform the show there?
It had been
I
done,
did.
has it? You did there.
I performed there twice.
I actually performed a contemporary dance show in Inishmaan, which was choreographed by a New York choreographer called Yoshiko Chuma. And the Islanders loved it. I really don't think they knew what was happening.
Can you show?
That was 12 years ago.
I played on Inishmaan years ago a play where I played another younger woman who was also a bit kind of eccentric. But it was quite tragic in that her niece was getting married and she had a flashback to her being jilted at the altar. So she came down the stairs wearing a wedding dress. And everywhere else in the country where we toured, people were, on the island, they laughed. And they laughed, but it was just a bit like the play, a very honest, immediate reaction of, oh, God help her, she's mad. And it wasn't cruel, it was just, it is funny. Saying it how it is. But yeah, absolutely.
I think we have time for one more question. I don't even know how to. I can't even choose. I can't.
Okay. So the play is set in like before World War II, which is the Adolf Hitler comment. It was written 20 years ago, and it's still being performed today. So my question is, no matter if it's disabled people, queer people, people with mental illness, are you as actors seeing any progress in not just like the visibility of these things, but how they're portrayed? In that usually it's kind of seen as like the token gay, or we're going to have a person of color because we have to. But as actors in the community, are you seeing any progress in the right direction for that?
Yes.
I just need hope. Like.
No, there is, and I think that's. I watched something recently, and I'm going to be really annoyed now because I won't be able to remember what it was. But I watched something recently where there was a character who was gay, and him being gay didn't in the least bit affect the show. It was just a thing. Like, and that's so I think there is more. I think as more people from our generation are the writers of things, it will become more and less of an issue, less and less of a thing. It's kind of an awkward question for me to answer because if it was really progressive, then like I wouldn't be playing this part. You know what I mean? It is it's a tricky one, but there is something like I definitely hope it's.
And thank you for responding that way, because that line in the play where he's just like they want an able-bodied man who can fake being crippled instead of a crippled man. That's really because gays used to not be able to play.
That's right.
And so, thank you.
No, thank you. I hope I can give you a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
In Ireland, we now have a gay theatre festival and a gay film festival in the last kind of 5 years, so that's progress.
And white actors don't play Othello anymore.
That is
only black people. That's absolutely.
Well, you guys, that was absolutely amazing. Trevor Project on Twitter. Visit their website to get some information coming up. We're actually going to give a few things from the set and some Play-Doh so that they could be auctioned off. So there's some cool
Guess
things.
what? We have enough of that.
There are 7 more shows Inishmaan. So please tell your friends immediately to
How many
come see
eggs?
these last
How many
last
eggs?
shows.
40 a show.
Sarah, did you ever want to throw one out of the audience?
Yes, I have.
She's hit the audience a good few
We went totally full voice to the day. The start of the scene, it was very, very tempting. If you can hear me, I can hear you. Yeah, we nearly got an egg.
What's in the bottle?
Guess.
Great job.
You're trying, I know. Get some really good pictures.